How was that? How did that go? Did you get to meet some new people? New to you people? That's something I normally say. Do folks want to report out what they learned? Because I jumped in at every single group for a minute or two, almost every single group. Excuse me. Let's share out. Group one, Emma, Luna. I know you joined very, very late. Lauren, Emily, and Christina.
Say, Emily, can you put those two links on the main group that were in the breakout group? Because I think everybody would want to hear about that. Do you want to share that?
Yeah, so we have a speed networking on Friday if people want to connect with others in the reuse sector, not just within building materials, and not just in Minnesota. So there's that on Friday, kind of a midday 45-minute way to just connect with folks who are doing reuse. And then tomorrow we have a session on right to repair, which has to do with repairing anything from electronics to appliances and farm equipment. And the hope is with the legislative makeup this year that we might actually be able to move this toward the goalposts. We'll cross our fingers, but there's a number of us presenting tomorrow about what right to repair is and how you can get involved if you're interested. And then I didn't actually get to share this, but for anybody who's interested, we have our Reuse Minnesota member meeting in February, a quarterly member meeting, and that is open to guests. And basically we will have two things on the agenda right now. We'll be finalizing the rest soon, but Native Sustainability did a contract for us, and they'll be sharing the results of their business needs assessment, where they surveyed a bunch of reuse businesses and kind of asked what's really needed. What are the things that are missing from the reuse sector? What are the things, especially folks in government, how we can support what they're doing? And then MinTap will share about the Minnesota Materials Exchange, which has been referenced, and it's struggled a bit the last several years, but they're doing some revamp. They have a new staff person, and so John will be sharing about what how that's going and how the platform can be used. So if you're interested, especially if you work for a company that has assets that need to be dealt with from time to time, it's a great platform to be aware of, or if you know someone who does, whether it's a manufacturing situation or just someplace that has office equipment that needs to go away. So there's that. The last thing, I promise is the last thing, sorry. I said that was the last one, but Reuse Minnesota will be at the Minneapolis Home and Remodeling Show the first weekend in February. So if you come, you can join us there. If you use our link, you can get half off admission. I think it's normally like $12, so it's $6. But we also have space for our member organizations, which I don't know how many are on here, but to be part of our booth. So they're giving us a free booth, which is pretty sweet. We did this a couple of years ago before the pandemic, or before COVID started. So this is a space where we will highlight some of the work of our members. So if any of you have considered becoming members and have been waiting and you want to get some free time in front of the millions of people, the thousands of people who go through those events, join as members, and then you can get some space. We will also be doing the Home and Garden Show the first weekend of March. So that's something we're offering as a partnership with our members to be able to get in front of the public to talk about what we do in the reuse sector. So all of those links are there. Let myself or Carolyn, who's also on, know if you have questions on any of those, and we'll get you more info.
Fantastic. Anything else to share from the other participants of that group?
Got to learn a lot about Christina's exciting interdisciplinary work at Hubbard County, and learn more about the kind of reuse program that she's trying to develop and build community engagement. So that was cool. And then I got to ask Emily lots of questions about Better Futures. I wasn't super familiar with that organization prior to this meeting, and so kind of interested in digging into that more and seeking opportunities for potential deconstruction that might be in our future. So
Melissa, Emma actually had a good question about that as to whether or not any state agencies have actually used Better Futures to do deconstruction. And it was a question I couldn't answer because I know the counties and cities have, but I don't know of a state agency that's actually utilized them. And I thought maybe you would know or know who to ask, but and obviously we could ask Better Futures, but
Right. Not that I'm aware of, and not since I took over this program, but that's where Allison and I and others have been working on state contracts to encourage / require / be aware of deconstruction opportunities. So we've been kind of going in a couple different angles to try to bring that awareness. And we do have an Office of Enterprise Sustainability, but the director just retired. So part of it is, you know, some things are in flux as far as like direct support, other things we're working on the contract side. So long answer to a short question, I don't believe so. It is something, the lead by example part is something we all very, very clearly care about. Those of us working on it at the state level. Group 2. Rita and Kathy, Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you again. And Simona.
I'm not sure which one of us went to talk. I told them about what we do at Atomic Recycling. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yep.
And so our construction and demolition hauling and recycling facility. One thing I did note is that a lot of our customers or work that we do downtown Minneapolis or downtown St. Paul, there's only room for one dumpster. So one comment for construction, deconstruction, or for doing a lot of the sorting on site is sometimes problematic if you don't have enough room if you're working on the 12th floor of some building downtown. So my concern that making deconstruction a mandatory requirement, I don't think it'll work for everything. And so I'm all for it if we can do it ahead of time, but I worry that it may not work for everybody, and I don't really like it being mandatory. And then I was also just sharing that now that Atomic Recycling, we're moving into a new building, and we're going to be doing remodeling to this old building. And this building was built like in 1945 and 1946 and 1950. And right now, some of the remodeling for old HVAC systems and old electrical systems and old plumbing, so much work. I'm learning right now as I'm talking to vendors that things that have to be brought up to code, current code. And one of the vendors said to me, you know, it might be easier if you just tear down the building and start over. I'm like, oh, well, nice. So anyway, it's interesting that you can try, but sometimes it's not easy, and it's a lot more expensive than I thought it was going to be to just remodel this older building. So it's fun.
That's great to know.
Yeah, and then the other woman in our group, she's got to tell you about their new project in now I forget the county. Sorry.
Rita?
Yeah, and that's Rita from Dodge County. We are doing a reuse center starting construction in spring of 2023. Looking forward to that. We will be basically a drop-off location for building materials, things that can be acceptable to the Rochester Restore, which is a Habitat for Humanity restore. Also, we have worked with a little bit with Better Futures to try and work on I'm hoping that part of the building can be for the restore and the other part of the building can be for us to resell some things on our own. And Better Futures has kind of also helped us a little bit on that. We're hoping to do a couple pop-up sales and things like that. But we've got the building ordered. We've got our access road built. We have an electrician. Unfortunately, with the costs and stuff of the way things are, we may be not doing everything as planned and not as quickly. But yeah, we are looking forward to being able to have those materials available, both either through the restore or through our facility, things that aren't acceptable to the restore. Just had a meeting with the restore yesterday to kind of work out a little bit of an agreement with them. So they're on board with us, and just figuring out how it'll all work out, and looking forward to getting it all started.
And for folks that may not know, I actually attended an open house for Ramsey County, who's building a new environmental center in Roseville, and I cited both the Becker County success and also the future development of not only the Dodge County one, but the Pope Douglas one as well. So this is a growing trend to build environmental centers that do have reuse rooms. So this is not a fringe, this is now normalized. So, yay. I know we're getting really short on time. Group 3, and people, please go ahead and throw into chat anything that has been missed. But Allison, Jeremy, Olivia, and John.
I learned some resources for small business and environmental assistance that I'm going to follow up on with the state.
Thanks, Allison.
Yeah, I shared with Jeremy the no interest small business loan. So please, if you know of any other small businesses that need some cash to get things going, that's a really great resource.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I also shared about how I learned earlier today that Portland, the city of Portland in Oregon, got some great new guidelines in for their cement. So all cement has to have some post-consumer aggregate in it, which is really cool, really awesome to see. So obviously that's not deconstruction, but you know, if we can't be doing deconstruction, it's really great to see better practices happening for just built environment in general.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Group 4, Arthur, Sandy, Gavin, and Molly.
I might be the last one standing here, but I can report out. I'm Molly. I'm with Ramsey County Environmental Health, working kind of on the deconstruction grant program we have, and trying to push a few ideas for our new environmental service center as well. And I got to meet Gavin, who's with Rochester. I think he said he's a Green Corps member, but they're doing a lot of demolition planned in their downtown with Mayo Clinic expansion. So he's coming with some ideas on diversion ideas with the demolition component to that, and trying to advocate reuse, diversion, and also getting involved with their historic preservation office, which we've had some history kind of collaborating with it as well. Who else was in our group? Oh, Sandy Gunderson with Becker County shared a lot of her successes with the transfer station diversion project that's been mentioned. Sounds like they had a great year, and they're kind of ramping up to continue that. And we shared some ideas with the Environmental Service Center, and also who was the last attendee? Oh, Arthur was with Pope Douglas Solid Waste. So he is also involved with an Environmental Service Center that's being built with plans of a reuse room. So that was kind of a good connection we could all discuss. And oh yeah, Gavin. Yeah, I think that was basically it. We had a lot of connections over the service centers and reuse rooms, and it's good to connect.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then group 5, Carolyn, Maddie, Josh, and Kevin. I think Kevin had to jump off, but I don't know who else is left anyways.
Yeah, so we met Maddie. Well, Josh and I work together, so we kind of already knew what each other was working on. But Maddie is a student at the U. She's doing a master's a research program, and she is doing a 1-year study on lumber recovery. So I thought that was just kind of a great timing with today's guest speaker, and looking at where and how do we recover lumber. So I think the results of her study, whatever they may be, will be very helpful at some point. And we were just kind of talking about other ways, well, Josh was sharing his deconstruction toolkit project he's working on with Rethos, and kind of just more of the focus on for like the smaller rural cities and the community involvement that is going to be needed for those groups. So I think as they kind of work on it more, they'll have more findings from that too. So, but then I also shared the speed network event that Reuse Minnesota is hosting, and then the Right to Repair 101 session going on tomorrow night.
Fantastic. Well, we are out of time. We are not out of topics, so we'll just have to continue these conversations either offline with one another or at the next meeting. So if there are folks that did take some notes and want to send them to me via email, that'd be fantastic for me to be able to share them. I'll throw my email address in chat. Anybody can contact me for any reason related to these related topics. So there we go. Email address is in chat. Thank you all for joining us today. We had a lot of things covered. I'll be sure to share the recording with edits of the gap removed of when you were all in breakout rooms, and then share some notes as time allows. So thanks everybody for joining us. Good to see some new and familiar faces.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Bye. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks.